A cordial greeting. Today is Sunday, June 16, 2024. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. After a rather quiet start to the Atlantic hurricane season, we are finally seeing several areas of interest for cyclonic development. The first area we are closely monitoring is associated with a Central American gyre, and it is possible that a tropical depression will develop in the Gulf of Mexico over the next few days. This potential development is of interest to residents of Louisiana, Texas, and eastern Mexico, as well as countries in Central America and southern Mexico. If you want to know more details about this forecast, visit my YouTube channel to watch a video I recently recorded discussing the potential for cyclonic development in this area and the expected flooding across Louisiana, Texas, Mexico, and Central America. However, in this video, I would like to talk about the southwestern Atlantic region, just east of Florida and the state of Georgia, where we will be monitoring the possibility of developing a low-pressure system that could become a tropical cyclone before reaching the southeastern coast of the United States. This area was marked yesterday by the National Hurricane Center as an area with a low probability of development. This morning at 8 a.m., the National Hurricane Center increased the probability of developing a tropical depression to 30% by midweek. Therefore, it is important for residents of Georgia and Florida to stay alert to the evolution of this disturbance. This area of bad weather is associated with a frontal system that stems from what was NV's 90, which brought significant rainfall to Florida, and also with a trough located just northeast of the Bahamas. As shown in the following animation, it is expected that in the coming days, a high-pressure system will strengthen over the northeastern United States, causing a part of the cold front to remain just northeast of the Bahamas. As the high pressure continues to strengthen in the northeastern United States, it will cause this low pressure to move westward, eventually approaching the southeastern United States by the end of this week. Atmospheric conditions will not be entirely favorable for the development of a tropical depression. As shown in this graph, the low pressure will be associated with an amplified trough system, and it is anticipated that shear from the northwest could affect the circulation by midweek. However, a factor that could aid cyclonic formation is the development of a wind channel in the upper levels of the atmosphere northeast of the circulation, which could provide good ventilation and help deepen this low pressure. Additionally, as this low pressure moves westward, it will encounter somewhat warm sea surface temperatures, especially when crossing the Gulf Stream, which runs parallel to the coasts of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Therefore, we cannot rule out that these sea surface temperatures might help form a tropical depression just before reaching the United States. Another unfavorable factor for cyclonic formation is dry air that could enter the circulation from the southwest, which could also hinder the formation of a tropical depression. If it does form, the system will likely remain quite weak with difficulties in strengthening. Now let's talk about the projections of global models and how much rain is expected for Florida and Georgia. But first, I wanted to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go to the bottom of the video, click the red button that says subscribe, and then click the bell so you don't miss any videos about this forecast. Let's move on to see the GFS model projection. It shows that during Sunday night, a low pressure starts developing just south of Bermuda, and as the high pressure system establishes itself in the northeastern United States, the low pressure maintains a westward trajectory while slightly strengthening. The GFS model potentially shows a tropical depression or tropical storm forming between Wednesday and Thursday this week, eventually reaching the coast of Georgia or northeastern Florida by Thursday night or early Friday morning. As I explained, the GFS model indicates a weak tropical depression or perhaps a tropical storm when it reaches this area, likely facing some unfavorable conditions for strengthening. On the other hand, the European model projection is much more conservative. It does not develop a low pressure until Tuesday night, towards the north of the Dominican Republic, moving westward and remaining quite weak until reaching the east coast of Florida by Thursday afternoon or night. Compared to the GFS model, the European model is much slower with this westward movement and also keeps this system weaker. The latest projection seems to have a tropical depression entering Florida on Thursday night. The German model agrees with this forecast, potentially having a tropical depression entering northern Florida or the coast of Georgia on Thursday night or early Friday morning. Although the UK model does not show the development of a tropical depression, it does have a zone of bad weather and a low pressure moving over the northeastern Florida peninsula on Thursday night, bringing showers to this area and southeastern Georgia. We can see the different scenarios in the GFS ensemble members. About 30% of the members develop a tropical depression, most of them moving towards northeastern Florida, while some have a slightly more northern trajectory over South Carolina and Georgia. Therefore, there is still uncertainty about where this low pressure will form, which can significantly impact the final location in the southeastern United States. In comparison, The European model ensemble has a much weaker system than the American model, and shows more southern trajectories, ranging from Georgia to southern Florida. The European model ensemble currently has a 30 to 35% probability of developing a tropical depression just east of Florida, which aligns well with the latest outlook from the National Hurricane Center. Ultimately, it will depend on several factors. First, where the low pressure develops. The further south it develops, the more likely it is to move over Florida, while if it develops further north, it is more likely to move over South Carolina and Georgia. Additionally, in the coming days, we will be watching how strong this low pressure can become. The stronger it is, the more likely it is to reach Georgia, while if it remains weak, it is more likely to move over the Florida peninsula. In summary, the conditions are only marginally favorable for the formation of a tropical depression, so for now, I believe the probabilities will remain low, and there is still uncertainty about exactly where it will enter the southeastern United States. For now, it seems that the highest probabilities are that it will move into northeastern Florida or the coast of Georgia between Wednesday and Friday this week. Finally, let's look at the accumulated rainfall projections. Generally, between 3 to 5 inches of rain is expected between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. This is the GFS model projection, while the European model also has between 2 to 4 inches of rain. In this case, a little further north over South Carolina and Georgia, while the GFS shows rain in northern Florida. Ultimately, remember that this will depend on exactly where this low pressure moves. The important thing is for residents of South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida to stay alert to the evolution of this forecast. At the moment, there is no reason to worry. It seems it will only be a rain event for the end of this week. Before I go, I would like to invite you to consider becoming members of my YouTube channel. If you are interested, go to the bottom of the video, click the button that says Join, and see the different sponsorship plans, where with a small monthly contribution, you can support my project and receive some additional benefits. Here at Hurricane Info, we are committed to keeping you informed about the developments of this possible system, so stay tuned for other videos that I will record during the week. I hope everyone has an excellent start to the week. Goodbye.